What up, YouTube? Good morning, and welcome to What the Fucking Papers Say, with me, Deke Jackson, on the 3rd of September, 2020. Today's paper is The Independent, owned by a Russian billionaire, so not independent at all. And the headlines today are: Kremlin accused of Novichok attack, but Saudi Arabia excused for killing people willy-nilly all over the place with bombs we sold them. Also excused from killing people willy-nilly all over the place with bombs we sold them is Egypt. And also excused for tyrannies and fascisms and brutality in the most extreme is China, who we forgive because they make the shit we want. Oh yeah. In other news, Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, announced new Hollywood careers as porn stars. And finally, climate change on course to kill you all, but who gives a fuck about that? Okay, let's get into it. The Kremlin is accused of poisoning Mr. Navalny, who remains seriously ill in hospital. It's awful. Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, condemned the outrageous attack on an opposition politician. German leader Merkel has demanded answers, and Boris Johnson has called it nothing at all. Donald Trump has said, we'll have to look into that if Putin lets me. Yeah, Kremlin accused over Novichok attack, but nobody is bothered, apparently, by Saudi Arabia still killing children in Yemen. The bombs that they are sold come from Glenrothes, where BAE, that's quite near here, have a factory that makes the kinds of bombs that fit on the kinds of aeroplanes that we sell them. Mohammed Goman gets his orders from BB, not Putin. You know, I'd like to think that. I would like to think that. But since Putin is such an obvious goon, stooge, and lying cunt, you have to wonder why Donald Trump is so nice to him. Does Putin have footage of him drinking pee from hookers in a hotel in Vladivostok? We'll never know, as long as Donald behaves himself, really. As for Bibi, news not in your papers or on the television is Netanyahu's home and office and parliamentary offices are surrounded by protesters demanding he resign. While we're getting some pish about Belarus filling our media because NATO's got a hard-on for taking over that country and getting their mobile phone contracts, we're not hearing that the people of Israel have had enough of fucking Netanyahu. Good morning, sleepy shoegazer. We're not hearing that at all. I had to probe the internet to find out what was going on in Israel. So while Putin will no doubt be lambasted and receive lots of approbation in our media, we don't have a problem with the United Arab Emirates, who recently used a drone to bomb and kill 20 cadets, young unarmed men practicing their drill in some kind of compound somewhere. Or Egypt regularly carpet bombing areas of Libya that we would like to control. We don't have a problem with that. But one semi-poisoned Russian opposition speaker, who, by the way, Mr. Navalny, would sell the people of Russia out to the IMF and Visa and McDonald's in a fucking heartbeat. We need some inwards investment, if he ever got to be leader. There are no good rulers. There are no good rulers. If Navalny is an opposition leader, then what is he? Your scumbag in waiting. Mr. Navalny would sell you out to Budweiser, Coca-Cola, and the global franchise of Fuck You for a Buck in a heartbeat. He really would. But, you know, that's not to say that we shouldn't have a problem with Saudi Arabia, China, Egypt, etc. Dr. Supergenius, good morning. Sanctions discussed after disputed poll. Canada, the US, the EU and Britain are discussing possible sanctions against Belarus over its crackdown on protesters following a disputed election. Funnily enough, Canada, the US, the EU and Britain are not discussing any possible sanctions against the military junta in Egypt, who were still selling Apache helicopters, Abrams M1 tanks and sniper rifles, electric cattle prods and handcuffs, while they murder political dissent and deny their people democracy. Yay for us! Hey, for the free world! I'm part of the free world. It's so peachy here in the free world. I can't wait to have an opinion about something somebody gives me. What a load of pish. I think I just excited the dog by getting a little worked up there. Pope holds his first audience in months. Where did he hold them? Did he cup their balls? Where exactly did the Pope hold his audience? I feel there should be a photograph there. We've missed a photo opportunity. I would like to see where the Pope was holding his audience. The audience, at which the Pope announced the day of prayer and fasting for Lebanon, was held in a courtyard. Everyone among the audience wore masks and sat in socially distanced seating. That was so Jesus could sit beside them and touch them. A lot of people have been touched by Jesus while they were socially distanced. Because with the more room you create by being socially distanced, it allows Jesus into your life to touch you. It's funny that Christians are worried about catching the coronavirus, because if they die, they're going to heaven. And God works in mysterious ways, so fuck it. I just wonder. Okay, whinging, meaningless Extinction Rebellion protests lead to arrests. Unthinking rebellion leads to arrests. Police were forced to make fresh arrests in London on the second day of climate protests. Police spent much of the day removing protesters from the streets. At least 160 people have been arrested, which campaigners were insisted were necessary to force urgent political action to address climate change. Extinction Rebellion said it was targeting political and financial institutions which have the power to accelerate action on climate change. The group have called on MPs to pass new climate emergency bill, and activists will target the Treasury and hold a disruptive cycle ride. A disruptive cycle ride. With a name like Extinction Rebellion, I was expecting a little more immolation. With a name like Extinction Rebellion, I sort of expected to see like mass cliff jumping, something like that. A bit more Kool-Aid. If the stakes are so high, how come the action is so pish? A disruptive cycle ride. Wow, that's going to do it. That's really going to do it. Oh no, our political masters say, oh no, they're having another disruptive cycle ride. What are we going to do? Let's give in to all their demands. I don't think so. For those of you interested in such things, the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere is now 47% above pre-industrial levels and amounts to about somewhere between 5 and 6 tons per person per year. Now, for those of you who are not conversant with the greenhouse effect or basic science or anything that relates to your survival on this rock in space, allow me to paint a picture of what that means in reality on this planet. Imagine you're sitting in your living room, wherever it is you live, and all year you have to share your living room with 6 tons of material which emanates heat. You can't turn it off. There's no thermostat. It permanently and constantly emanates infrared energy, heating you up. There's no escape. It follows you everywhere you go. When you get in your car, 5 tons of CO2 gets in your car with you and sits there, emanating heat. That's per person, 5 tons per person every year. Not just this year. You did that last year as well. We did that. Boil that lobster. Yes, Mohammed, boil that lobster. For those of you interested in that sort of thing, our rulers know very well that the planet is fucked. They have no interest in you sticking around to fix it. They can fix it without you. Extinction Rebellion is barking up the wrong tree. In Scandinavia, it would be beneficial. Well, in Scandinavia, correct me if I'm wrong, but the seed bank's supposed to be somewhere that was so cold it would remain frozen forever, melted, and we nearly lost the planet's insurance policy as far as seeds go. Yes, I don't want to confound climate and weather, but the fact is, and it is a fact, that the greenhouse effect is real. It really is a real effect. And what happens is energy from the sun hits the earth, the surface of the earth absorbs the energy and re-radiates it on its way back to space, where much of it goes. It's captured by the molecular bonds between carbon and oxygen, which resonate in the infrared spectrum. And that re-radiates heat to Earth, just like a heater in the sky, just like being warmed up by something. Sure, it's uneven. Sure, it's a slow process. So die slowly. All right, nerve agent in Salisbury poisoning is used against Kremlin's top critic. And there's a picture of Alexei Navalny looking noble and purposeful, where, you know, honestly, the idea that somehow the people of Russia will be better served by another, you know, pro-West consumer neoliberal tosser is bizarre. He will sell you out faster than a contactless payment. Plants love greenhouses. Yes, they do. Plants love greenhouses. I got some plants that love CO2. But eventually, the absorption rate of CO2 plateaus out, and plants can't take any more CO2. And if the temperature continues to go up, I'm assuring you, your plants will not like it. Neither will you. Wet bulb temperatures, the end of agriculture, that sort of thing. Trump uses conspiracy theory about race protests. President Donald Trump is promoting a baseless conspiracy theory to claim that race protests were orchestrated by powerful people in dark shadows intent on undermining his re-election prospects. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, right? Just off the top of my head. But the people protesting don't like Donald Trump. They don't want him to get elected, and they organize the protests to make that point. Did I miss something? Are the people who are protesting about Black Lives Matter thinking Donald Trump's the man to help them? No, they are almost to a man anti-Trump. These protests are almost always organized by people who don't want Trump to be elected. I think Trump is pretty much nailing it there. Meanwhile, Trump says, we had somebody get on a plane from a certain city this weekend. In the plane, it was almost completely loaded with thugs wearing dark uniforms, black uniforms, with this gear and that gear, Mr. Trump said, adding that the matter is under investigation. Now, to be fair to the opposition here, I should say I watched some videos of the Kenosha protest, and the number of G.I. Joes on the street in their tactical Call of Dummy gear was amazing. Honestly, I envy America's liberty and freedom, where you can go out on the street looking like you're a member of the Special Forces and nobody bats an eyelid. Honestly, you'd be double tapped by the SAS in this country, if you even wearing camouflage in this country. 2 guys were surrounded by armed police in Britain for having broomsticks on the roof because somebody thought they were terrorist snipers. Honestly, America, make the most of your freedoms, because they won't last. Rule Britannia will be sung at the proms after BBC U-turn. By the way, they'll also be singing the national anthem, which contains a verse about quelling rebellious Scots. But I don't hear any of the fucking Black Lives Matter protesters complaining on our behalf that the fucking white English elite fuckers at last night of the proms are going to sing about quelling our rebellion. Fuck, where's the brotherhood, man? You know, we're all in this together. What about us fucking oppressed Scots in that verse? Yeah? Also, maybe they'll be singing Jerusalem, which is a hymn which proposes to build Jerusalem in England, making the centre of Christianity England. That seems a bit unpleasant. You'd think that would get more of a mention. I'm guessing they won't be singing Sambo, 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 Ole, which when I was a young man in primary school They made me sing in music lessons. Unbelievable. Along with much other racist pish. Panto season is to be allowed to return for Christmas. Pantomime will be open for Christmas, but with social distancing in place. So when the crowd shouts out, as they traditionally do, to the people on stage about the villain behind them, because of social distancing, it will be, "He's 2 meters behind you!" Boom, boom. Here's some pish about Scotland. He's nothing if not stubborn. Leonard, the Scottish Labour leader, has defied calls from MSPs to quit. He says, no he doesn't, I'm going to change it. Richard Leonard insisted he would lose the party the 2021 election and suggested that rebels should consider joining another party if they want a career in politics. He's such a loser. Honestly, the idea that a broadly spoken Yorkshireman could lead Scottish Labour to victory is beyond absurd. You have got to wonder what the Scottish Labour Party was thinking when they elected him. But I know what they were thinking. It was because he was one of the few Corbynites in the Labour Party in Scotland, so they had to elect him. Honestly, the man's gonna fucking bomb. Labour will be lucky to have enough subs to rent that office space where they talk about how rubbish their result was. White House responds to World Health Organization vaccine concerns. Check this out. I am not a cheerleader for Trump. I'm honestly not. I think he's a vain, narcissistic, stupid twat. Really, I do. But this is just awesome. The White House has attacked the World Health Organization when the WHO expressed concerns the American vaccine might be approved without completing full trials. 172 other countries are engaging with the World Health Organization's COVID-19 vaccine plan. They've got a plan. 172 nations, they're all in it together. They're all going to have the same vaccine. Those 172 nations, except America, because Donald Trump pulled out of the World Health Organization and is organizing his own vaccine. Here we go, says the White House spokesperson on behalf of Donald Trump. The United States will continue to engage our international partners to ensure we defeat the virus. But we will not be constrained by multilateral organizations influenced by the corrupt World Health Organization and China. Fucking hell. Tss, awesome. Corrupt World Health Organization and corrupt China, eh? The Chinese flu. Why aren't we talking about the Wuhan Institute? I tell you. You know, like I say, I don't like Donald Trump, but he's the only world leader saying this shit. He really is. If I was in a room full of world leaders, I wouldn't have anything to say about anything except to Donald Trump. And I would ask him, what do you really know about the Wuhan Institute? Come on, man, I'm with you. It's totally suspicious. It's completely G. Come on, Donald. Come on, Donald, tell us. What's the skinny? What do you actually know? Because I'd like to know what Donald knows. America has the most awesome intelligence infrastructure, and they surely know more than me. Oh, yes, one for the Royal Watchers. Harry and Meghan sign Pornhub deal. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have ditched royal duties to pursue new careers as Hollywood porn stars. The couple have signed a deal with Pornhub to produce a series of porn videos, some of which are titled Meghan Does Windsor, Harry Does Vegas, and When Harry Did Meghan in the Arse. I'd pay to see all those movies, wouldn't you? Now that I've conjured it into existence, is anybody familiar with the joke, The Debonaires? Anybody familiar with the joke, The Debonaires? It goes a bit like this. I'll try and keep it short. There's a theatrical talent agent. Let's say he's in Los Angeles, California, and a family come in and they say, we'd like to work in entertainment. And the theatrical agent says, well, there you go on. Show me what you got. And the The father starts fucking the dog while the dog licks out the mother, while the mother gives the son a blowjob, while the daughter fucks the son in the ass with a strap on. Then they all swap positions. The father shits in the mother's mouth, the daughter pees in the dog licks the mum's arse while the son fucks the fucking the dog. When they've finished, the theatrical agent says, well, that was quite something. What are you called? The Windsors. That's my version. In the original joke, they say we're the aristocrats or the debonaires. Insert a word of your choice. And so when Harry did Meghan, when Harry did Meghan in the arse on Netflix, on Pornhub, how thick was the strap on? I don't know. It was one of the knobbly ones. And so I think that's it for Pish and Bollocks today. Oh, except just one final thing here. News from China, a country we're not up in arms about anybody poisoning the opposition, because there is no opposition. Let's just go over that again, because these figures may seem confusing at first. The Chinese government has not poisoned any opposition leaders, because there's no opposition leaders. The place where your television's made, your smartphone, your laptop, your tablet, the place that owns more American currency than any other country on earth. No political opposition, none at all. Nobody to poison. Nobody to poison at all. Not allowed. You're not allowed to be the opposition. The Communist Party of China is the government, and that's it. Full stop. So we're okay with that, apparently. We're fine with that. That's okay. We've got a problem with Putin trying to poison a political opponent. We don't have a problem with the Saudis bombing Yemen or Egypt killing its opponents. China, no problem. So, of course, we wouldn't have a problem with them getting rid of the Mongolian language from schools in Mongolian areas of China. We wouldn't have a problem with them locking up Uyghur men in concentration camps and, I shit you not, putting members of the Chinese army into the homes of these men's families where they rape their wives to produce Chinese children. I shit you not. Enjoying your laptop? Good. We also don't have a problem with the Chinese saying that females should not wear anything revealing because it might arouse temptation. Honestly, these people are like slant-eyed Muslims, misogynist, cultural genocide. They're like fucking Far Eastern fucking, they're like the fucking Borg of planet Earth. You know, if I believed in evil, the Chinese government would be the closest thing there was to it. Systematic rape, cultural genocide, misogyny, political oppression, fascism and tyranny. Just the place to get your electronics from. Just the place to do trade deals with. Just the people to invite to Britain for a state visit and let them sniff the Queen's gusset. Oh, Your Majesty! And thank you. That was what the fucking papers say today. I'm going to walk the dog now. Hope you have a great day, because I know I'm going to. See you next time.